On March 10th, 1928, Walter Collins disappeared. This 9-year-old boy was last seen around 5 p.m. by a neighbor at the corner of Pasadena Avenue and North Avenue 23 in Lincoln Heights, Los Angeles. His mother, Christine Collins, gave him some money to go and see a movie at a nearby theater. His father was in the Folsom State Prison for robbery. The Los Angeles Police Department was already under investigation for several corruption scandals, and their inability to locate Walter Collins was rather embarrassing. The police chief, James Davis, was under a lot of pressure to solve the case. The police looked along Lincoln Park Lake, but were unable to find anything. Collins's father thought former prison inmates were responsible for his son's disappearance in an attempt to get revenge. He worked at the prison's cafeteria and was responsible for reporting other inmates' infractions. With this sort of job, it is possible that he made more than a few enemies. Several tips came in, but nothing turned out to be very useful. A gas station attendant in Glendale, Richard Struthers, reported seeing a dead boy wrapped in newspaper in the back of a car when a foreign couple stopped to ask for directions. A man named C.V. Staley followed the couple when they left the gas station. The couple stopped for a few moments in front of a police station and then sped out of town, losing Staley. When the police showed Struthers and Staley Walter Collins's photo, they both said he was the boy in the back of the car. Other tips came in about a couple traveling across the state with a boy who was begging them to let him go. Walter's disappearance wasn't the only one around this time. Nelson and Louis Winslow, 10 and 12 years old, went missing on their way home to Pomona on May 16, 1928. Their parents received strange letters from them. The first said that they were heading to Mexico, and the second said they planned to stay missing as long as they could to become famous. The police didn't connect these two disappearances together at first. They also didn't find a connection between these cases and the headless body of a Latino boy they found in La Puente in February. And with none of these connections made, a neighbor's complaint about a man mistreating a boy at his poultry farm didn't appear to be relevant either. In August 1928, Illinois police picked up a boy who told them his name was Arthur Kent. At first, he would only say that his father abandoned him, so they placed him with a temporary family. Eventually, he told them that his real name was Walter Collins. He was from Los Angeles, and that he had been avoiding their questions to protect his father. Illinois police contacted California police, sent photographs of the boy, and later sent him to Los Angeles. California authorities contacted Christine Collins and showed her the photos of her son. She immediately said that he was not her son. However, Captain J.J. Jones talked her into trying out the boy for a while. 3 weeks after their reunion, Christine Collins brought the boy back to the police station. She brought with her Walter's dental records and signed statements from people who knew Walter, saying that this boy was not him. Captain Jones called her a lunatic and claimed she was trying to get the state to take care of her child, and believed she was just trying to embarrass the police department. He threw her into a psychiatric ward in Los Angeles County General Hospital on a Code 12, which allowed police to get rid of troublemakers by committing them into psychiatric hospitals. In September 1928, a Canadian woman named Winifred Clark contacted US authorities to tell them that her nephew had kidnapped and was holding her son, Sanford Wesley Clark, in California. Jessie Clark was worried about her 15-year-old brother, since he left 2 years prior with their uncle, Gordon Stewart Northcott, who was only 21 at the time. Jessie decided to go to Northcott's ranch in Wineville, California, to check on things. In the few days she stayed, she found out her uncle was abusing her brother and was involved in something very strange. Her uncle even attacked her too. On September 15th, 1928, Sanford told investigators that his uncle kidnapped him and had physically and sexually abused him. He also said Northcott had forced him to watch the abuse and murders of Walter Collins, Nelson and Lewis Winslow, and other boys. Sometimes he even made him participate in these acts. Northcott abducted boys to sexually abuse them, and when he got bored, he would lead them into the incubator room to see hatching chicks and kill them with an axe. To destroy the evidence, Northcott covered their bodies in quicklime. Sanford also said Northcott had killed a Latino boy in La Puente. They both killed Walter Collins because the boy had seen Northcott help another man kill his mining partner. Sanford told the police that they could find graves near the chicken coop for the Winslow brothers and Walter Collins. 2 graves were found, but the full bodies were not there, only pieces of bone. Axes found among other farm equipment had human hair and blood on them. Several bones were scattered across the ranch, which pathologists later determined to be from male children. Inside the house, a book checked out to one of the Winslow boys was found. Also, more letters to their parents were written, a child's whistle, and several Boy Scout badges were found. Nothing that could be directly attributed to Walter Collins was ever found. Northcott's father, Cyrus George Northcott, told police 2 days later that his son had admitted the murders to him. But by that time, Northcott and his mother, Louise Northcott, had left town. The Los Angeles Police Department initially continued to insist that Christine Collins had her son. They only discontinued this belief when a handwriting expert came in to analyze their writing styles. The expert concluded that this boy's handwriting was definitely not a match to the samples collected from previous years. The distinctive R's the boy used were commonly taught in Illinois but not found in California. The boy eventually told the truth. He admitted several other aliases as well. He said he had decided to try to pass off as Walter Collins when someone had mentioned he looked like the missing boy. Arthur Hutchins, 12 years old, had assumed Collins's identity in an attempt to go to Hollywood to meet his cowboy hero, Tom Mix. His stepmother picked him up in Los Angeles and took him back to their Illinois home. He didn't appear to have any remorse for his actions and said Christine Collins must have known he wasn't her son, so it was just a big game for them both. Shortly after Arthur Hutchins went home, Christine Collins was released from the institution. On September 20th, 1928, Gordon Stewart Northcott was arrested in British Columbia. They arrested his mother, Sarah Louise Northcott, in Alberta. In December, the police took Northcott back to his ranch in an attempt to get more information. While there, he verbally confessed to 5 murders, including the Winslow brothers, Walter Collins, and a Mexican boy named Alvin Gotea. However, later that day, Northcott only admitted 1 homicide in a written confession, and that was the murder of Alvin Gotea. Also in December, Northcott's mother confessed to the murder of Walter Collins. She said she delivered the final blow to the boy and then buried him in a hole near the chicken coop. Sanford Clark had said that his grandmother had told them that if they each hit the boy, then they would be equally guilty if caught. Sarah Louise Northcott was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Walter Collins. Gordon Stewart Northcott's trial began in January 1929. Northcott fired several defense attorneys and proceeded to defend himself. He admitted to abusing young boys because he loved them. He even had his mother testify for him. She claimed she was actually his grandmother because her husband had sexually abused her daughter Winifred, and Gordon was Winifred's son. Northcott also claimed to have had an incestuous relationship with Sarah Louise, and that his father had molested him. Northcott's defence was rather odd, and it was obvious that he was no lawyer. Along with a strange defence, Sarah Louise didn't prove to be a very credible witness, since the only continuous statement she made was that she would do anything for Gordon. On February 8, 1929, an all-male jury convicted Northcott for the first-degree murders of the Winslow brothers and an anonymous victim. Judge George R. Freeman sentenced him to death. Although he was convicted and sentenced to death, the families of his victims didn't have closure due to the inability to find intact bodies. Northcott was hanged on October 2, 1930. Shortly after his execution, the Wineville chicken coop murders were finally put to rest after the citizens decided to change the town's name. They changed it to Mira Loma, which means view from the hill in Spanish. This name change helped the town to disassociate from the horrific acts on that poultry farm. The horrors of the Wineville chicken coop murders were introduced again in 2008, when the Clint Eastwood film Changeling was released. The story reflects Christine Collins' attempt to recover her son Walter. It showed her perseverance to overcome the unjust law enforcement system and to learn the truth about her son. Share your thoughts in the comments section. If you found this video interesting, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you for watching.